Greetings and salutations and welcome to Illegitimate Legends, the show where I talk about some of the more unusual League of Legends builds. I'm not so happy with myself this week. I feel I could have come up with something better, but you get what you get. This week I've been mucking around with Nautilus, and it took me 3 different build attempts to find something that was actually functional, so I've learnt a lot about Nautilus and how to build him in that time. Rule 1 with Nautilus, you have to have health, which is why I'm not so impressed with myself in what I've managed to come up with, because it's not that different to what you see normally. A traditional Nautilus build is health and AP. This Nautilus build is health and AD. But the first 3 items are Frozen Mallet, Boots, and then Warmogs. And let's be honest, there's not that much damage there. You're not there to hit them around really hard. The only difference between this build and the other, the AP build, is that you're not dealing damage with your abilities, you're more or less focusing on who you need to hit with your anchor at any particular point in time. Now it's useful. It's all about stopping the enemy being able to move. Using your passive to its fullest ability. You want to, in a fight, be hitting every champion, usually on some sort of roster. Figuring out which order to beat down the enemy so that they can't get to your team. You'll save your teammates' lives, you'll disrupt the enemy team. Really quite fun, but other than that, you're still just Nautilus. Granted, Nautilus is really fun. He's a really, really good champion with some interesting abilities, but I don't know, I just found this build somewhat lacking in originality, which is kind of what I like to do. I like to come up with something that's a little bit different, and this is not that different. You still play like Nautilus, you do less damage with abilities than you would otherwise, but you've probably got more health than an AP health build does, so your shield becomes fantastic. Saves your life all the time. I found that Nautilus, once you get 1, usually 2, but 1 is probably good enough, Giant's Belt item, you stop being able to die. Don't know why it is. He kind of feels like you get more health for those items than you really ought to, but yeah, you stop being able to die once you get that Giant's Belt. You can start doing Nautilus things, but you got to be really careful before then. I played this build in top lane. Don't know why I didn't try a jungle, but I'm not familiar with Nautilus as a champion, and his natural armor is phenomenally low. Like, Teemo's got better base armor than Nautilus does, so it wasn't something I was willing to try out being new to Nautilus, so I figured I'd take him top lane, and some people seem to think I should be jungling. Other people seem to think that Tryndamere and Wukong was a good top lane, and that tower diving against me was kinda clever, but no, I stopped you moving, so I won that round. It's kind of an interesting game when Tryndamere is feeding a low armor tank. But I digress. There's very little to say about this build other than it works once you start getting health, but most games don't go long enough for you to start getting things other than health. Those 3 items are very expensive, and getting the rest of the build, like, I didn't even have time to figure out what I would want to get. I looked at attack speed, like Triforce. It wasn't highly effective. I'd still look at attack speed and movement speed so you can knock and anchor more people, but I can't accurately say what the best items for this build are. I'm sorry guys, but I just didn't have a game where I needed more than 3 items. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully next week will be a bit more entertaining. Good night.